There's a leadership vacuum in South Africa at the moment. There's a vacuum of honest, ethical, and brave leaders in this country. There is no doubt. When we restructured the JSE, when we deregulated the JSE, we changed every single thing. Closed the trading floor down, changed the listings requirements, mainly bringing in the British one, changing the capital requirements, allowing the banks become members of the JSE, allowing foreign stockbrokers to become members. There wasn't a single thing in that JSE that wasn't re-engineered. Every single thing. So how did we do it? First of all, it took 3 years to do the research. Michael Katz chaired a committee that went through the analysis, and it took 3 years of detailed analysis. As an aside, a person who needs a lot of credit is Jill Marcus. She was chairing the parliamentary committee. So picture the scene. We've been trading a certain way for 100 years. The government changes, and we go and see them in Cape Town and say, it's been working this way for 100 years, but we want to change everything. And the government's just changed. Now you can imagine automatic suspicion, concern. Are they trying to pull a fast one? Jill got on an aeroplane, she flew to London, she spent a week at the London Stock Exchange, and she came back and she said, done, I support you, you're doing the right thing. I was chairman of Virgin Active, as you can see. Interesting story how I became chairman, and Jeff, I think maybe you were even there. At President Mandela's first inauguration, I'm sitting there, sitting next to Coleman Andrews of SAA fame. We actually did good work for SAA, by the way. And this guy came up to me and said, Mr. Branson wants to meet you. I go up, he said, we have a drink before lunch, and Richard said, after we'd done the niceties, he said, I need help. I believe you got government contacts. I said, no, that's not true, but how can I help you? He said, I need more landing rights in Cape Town. Rings, familiar ringing over the last week. I looked at him and I said, you know, Mr. Branson, that's a bit awkward. He said, why? I said, because I'm a director of South African Airways. And with that, he jumped all over his staff and he said, better we have another gin. Fast forward X years, I was the chairman of Virgin Active South Africa. Coming back to the topic of leadership, however, I flew down to Cape Town to have a meeting with Richard, and the meeting was around the pool at the Cullinan Hotel. He was in his swimming costume. We had our meeting, and I said to him, you know, Richard, why do you stay at the Cullinan? And he looked at me as if I was dim-witted. He said, where does the air crew stay? I said, I presume the Cullinan. He says, that's why I stay at the Cullinan. Then he said to me, what are you doing this afternoon? I said, no, I'm flying back to Johannesburg. He says, no, I've chartered a yacht and I'm taking last night's air crew, cabin crew and pilots, sailing in Table Bay. Join us. Now, can you imagine when that air crew got back, it's probably one of 100 air crews, back to London, and they say, we went sailing with Richard in Table Bay. One story I like very much is about Donald Gordon. And say what you like about Gordon. He didn't build one fortune, he built two. Huh? He built one in South Africa at Liberty, and he replicated that in London when you couldn't take capital out of the country. So it was no accident. It was him. He was an annoying guy to work with at times because we'd give a presentation to him with all the facts and the figures. And he'd look at you and say, no, you're wrong. So we'd say, okay, Donald, what's wrong? My stomach tells me. And I'm telling you, he was never wrong. Infuriating. He would make decisions that weren't necessarily based on accounting logic. They were based on his own instinct, and I never saw him get it wrong. And there was a lovely story told about him, and I think it might be apocryphal. But at a board meeting, right near the end before they went off, remember we used to have board lunches in those days, the guests had already arrived. He put a proposal to the board, and he spoke eloquently about it. And he put it to the vote. And he was outvoted 14-1. And as chairman, he summarized as follows. He said, in view of the fact that this board is so deeply divided on this matter, we'll vote again next month. And the story goes that it went through next month. I can remember one, that's my last war story. The decision to build the Sandton Convention Centre, which was in Liberty property, as you know, Sandton. On paper, it made no sense. The numbers did not stack up. And Donald Gordon just looked at us and said, trust me. And it's been a great success. So there's no substitute for instinct.